The Kushanas. In the series of lectures on post-modern period, today we are going to talk about the Kushanas. We will mainly focus upon the achievements of Kanishka, the most important Kushana ruler. So the Kushanas succeeded the Parthians in the extreme northwest and spread themselves in successive stages in the regions of northern India. The Kushanas are also referred to as Yuchis or Tucharians. They belonged to one of the five clans of the Yuchi tribe. They were a nomadic people originally from the steppes of North Central Asia, living in the vicinity of China. They were responsible for ousting the Shakas in Bactria and also the Parthians in the Gandhara region. The Kushanas first consolidated territories beyond the Indian border. Gradually, their authority in India expanded and came to extend to over lower Indus basin and most of the Gangetic plain down Varanasi. We have coins, inscriptions, and other sources which provide evidence about two successive dynasties of the Kushanas. So now we are going to talk about some important rulers. The first one was Kujul Cadphises first. Kujul Cadphises first is believed to have united the five tribes of Yuchi and made successful inroads into India. He laid the foundation of a powerful line of rulers. He extended his dominions to the borders of India by extinguishing the Parthians and the Greeks who were controlling the northwestern frontier of India. Kujul Cadphises occupied Kabul and issued coins, calling himself the King of Kings. His empire extended between the river Oxus and Sindh, and it is evident from his coins that he defeated the last Yavan ruler and extended the Kushana Empire up to Takshila. Vima Cadphises, we learn from Chinese historians that Kujul Cadphises was succeeded by his son Vima Cadphises. Vima Cadphises is credited with the conquest of India and he has been called the conqueror of India. He annexed Mathura and assumed imperial titles like the Lord of the whole world. His coins show that he had adopted the Shaiv religion. His coins bear the figures of Nandi and Shiva on one side and the name Maheshwar on the other, which proves that he was a Hindu. The most outstanding and renowned ruler of Kushana dynasty was Kanishka. He was a great conqueror and a patron of Buddhism, an efficient administrator as well, and he transformed the Kushana kingdom into an empire and set up an efficient administrative system and order in it. His period witnessed an unparalleled growth in art and literature, and Buddhism became a worldwide popular religion because of his tireless efforts. So we will first look into the conquests of Kanishka. Kanishka is a conqueror. He was very ambitious and an imperialist ruler and he won many successes in war. At the time of his coronation, Kanishka got an empire consisting of Afghanistan, Bactria, a part of Sindh and the regions of Parthia. His capital was Purushpura. So his first important achievement was the conquest of Kashmir. In the opinion of B. A. Smith, Kanishka conquered Kashmir and made it a part of his empire in the beginning of his reign, and he also laid the foundation of a town Kanishkapur in the memory of his conquest. Then his war with Parthia. Chinese sources impart knowledge about the war between Parthia and Kanishka, and these sources say that the Parthian ruler had attacked Kanishka for two reasons. First was for recapturing Bactria from Kanishka, which was an important center of trade and commerce, and second was for recapturing Ariana from Kanishka. And in the battle that ensued, Kanishka defeated the Parthian king. Then war with China. Um, the most important victory of Kanishka was the defeat of China. And in the first battle with China, uh, which was led by a capable general Pancha, the Chinese defeated the Kushanas and tried to reassert their influence on the Kushanas. Kanishka was badly defeated in the first battle, but Kanishka undertook the second invasion of China, and then in the second invasion he defeated the Chinese army, and as a result Khotan, Kashgar and Yarkand were annexed to the empire of Kanishka. Then the conquest of Magad. According to Buddhist tradition, it is believed that Kanishka invaded Magad and captured its capital. The Magadhan king handed over Ashughosh, a great Buddhist philosopher, to Kanishka as war compensation. Ashughosh added to the glory of Kanishka's court. Finally, his war against the Shaka Kshatrapas, Kanishka defeated the Shaka Kshatrapas and conquered Punjab and Mathura. Consequently, the Shakas gave up a part of Malwa province to Kanishka and acknowledged his sovereignty. Now, Kanishka's empire extended from Khotan in the northwest to Banaras in the east and Kashmir in the north to Saurashtra and Malwa in the south. Now we talk about the administration of the Kushanas of Kanishka. Uh, we find that there was a kind of a decentralized scheme of administration with powers distributed among different units, but at the same time, this in no way alienated or even affected the powers of the king, who was an absolute monarch. So, first we talk about the powers and position of the king. The Kushana monarchs possessed immense powers. They assumed titles like Maharaja, Rajadhiraj, Maheshwar, Devaputra, etc. And contemporary Buddhist literature also refers to a council assisting the king, of which the members were known as Parishyayam. Then the Kshatrapas. The term Kshatrapa points to a ruler with a dominion, and the inscriptions of a Kanishka have reference to several Kshatrapas. For example, there was one Kshatrapa at Kapisa in Afghanistan, a second one at Takshila. There might have been two more Kshatrapas, one for Kashmir and the other for the southwestern portion of the empire. Then we have the institutions of the Dandanayak and the Mahadandanayak. Military, judicial, and police functions were given to the Dandanayak. He is also considered a feudatory, authorized to keep a certain amount of royal levy and administering 71 villages. The Kushanas were perhaps the first to introduce this system, and it was followed by the Gupta rulers and others in different parts of India. There also existed the institutions of the Gramika and Padrapal. The term Gramika is also taken in the sense of the head of a village. This headman enjoyed several privileges. Padrapal is a term referring to the local head. Now, the meager information available from Kushana records is suggestive of some sort of feudal hierarchy in Kushana administration. Trade and commerce also flourished during Kanishka's period. At the time of Kanishka, it was trade and commerce was highly developed. His empire was situated between two great empires, that is the Roman Empire and the Chinese Empire. Thus, Kanishka had ample opportunity of establishing trade relations with these countries. During this period, seaborne trade of India was also carried on through the Persian Gulf and the Gulf Sea. Now we come to an important aspect, the cultural achievements of Kanishka, in which we will talk about the religious developments, achievements in the field of literature and art and architecture. So first about religion, about Kanishka and Buddhism. The Buddhist tradition holds Kanishka in high esteem as one of the great patrons, next only to Ashoka. And Kanishka's fame is attributed not only to his strength but also to the encouragement and patronage he imparted to Buddhism. That is why Buddhist works have called him a patron of Buddhism and a second Ashoka. It seems that during his Magad invasion, he came into contact with the Buddhist scholar Ashok Ghosh, who impressed him, and as a result, Kanishka became a Buddhist. After adopting Buddhism, he tried to propagate and advance Buddhism. He not only patronized Buddhism and built stupas in Kanishkapur, Purushpur, Mathura, and Takshila, but also sent Buddhist monks to Central Asia, China, Tibet, and Japan. By then, the shape of Buddhism had changed a lot and had become more complex. Buddhism during this time faced great challenges from within, and different sects had grown up by the time of Kanishka. Kanishka convoked the fourth Buddhist council in Kashmir. The Buddhist theologians met at a monastery called the Kundalvan Vihar. The main aim was to collect manuscripts and to write commentaries on them. Vasumitra acted as the president of the council, while the famous author Ashwaghosh was appointed vice president. The council collected the texts of the Buddhist canon and prepared commentaries on it. The council also proposed an encyclopedia of Buddhist philosophy called Mahavibhas. The most important event in the domain of religion was the birth of Mahayanism. This was undoubtedly a remarkable change in the fundamental principles of Buddhism. An important development during this period was the rise of Mahayana Buddhism, and Buddha was now elevated to the position of a god and attended by a hierarchy of bodhisattvas and other divinities. The rituals were also elaborated, and this modified Buddhism was known as the Mahayana or the Great Vehicle. Due to the rise of this new branch, Buddhism now spread quite swiftly, and it also provided the facility of statue worship, which made it more popular. Kanishka declared Buddhism as the state religion and devoted his powers and resources for its expansion. He repaired the old viharas and constructed new ones at Takshila, Kashmir, and Mathura. These viharas became important centers for the spread of Buddhism. He gave lots of money in charity to the Buddhist monks, constructed many stupas in the sacred memory of Buddha, and sent missionaries to foreign lands. So Buddhism reached its zenith with the efforts of Kanishka. Now we talk about Kanishka as a patron of literature. He patronized the Sanskrit language and literature, and Kanishka is associated with many prominent scholars. For example, we have Ashwaghosha. Kanishka gave great patronage to Ashwaghosh, who was the greatest scholar of his times. And Ashwaghosh was well versed in philosophy, music, religion, literature, and debate. He wrote many books, both religious and secular, of which Saundaranand, Buddhacharit, Sariputra Prakaran, and Vajrashruti are important. Then Nagarjun, a great philosopher and scholar, adorned the court of Kanishka. He was known as the best exponent of Mahayanism. He wrote a book, Prajna Paramita Sutra Shastra, which is considered a unique book on philosophy and science. The theory of relativity was explained by Nagarjuna in this book, for which he is called Indian Einstein. Vasumitra was a Buddhist theologist and also the president of the Fourth Buddhist Council convened by Kanishka. He had compiled a book, Mahavibhasa Shastra, which is considered a valuable book on Buddhist philosophy. Charak, a reputed royal physician, adorned the court of Kanishka. He was the celebrated author of Ayurvedic science, and his book is called Charak Samhita, which is a unique work on Ayurvedic sciences. Kanishka was also a patron of art and architecture, and India under the Kushanas was equally notable for the contributions made in the realm of art and architecture. Kanishka himself took keen interest in art and architecture. He laid the foundations of the towns of Purushpura, Kanishkapura, etc., and built many beautiful buildings in these towns. And besides this, stupas and viharas were also built by him in large numbers. Now, during this period, Gandhara art and Mathura art were two important schools of art which developed. First, we will talk about the Gandhara art. The growth and origin of the Gandhara art was the most significant feature of the Kushana period. The territory of Gandhar was the main center of this art, and the new theory of Buddhism, Mahayanism, was responsible for the growth of this art. Gandhar art was influenced especially by the Greco-Roman culture, and Mahayanism was the main theme of Gandhara art. The full-size statues of Buddha and the images of the Kushana rulers were produced by employing this new style of art. And the statues and images were made of black stone. The clothes, decoration, ornamentation, etc., indicate the influence of the Greek style. And also, the statues of Buddha appear similar to the statues of Greek god Apollo. Mathura became the most prolific center of art production under the Kushanas. The sculptors carved out beautiful figures of Buddha Bodhisattvas, the Brahmanical divinities like Vishnu, Surya, and Shiv, Jain Tirthankaras, Kuber, Yakshas, and Nagas. And for the first time in this period, the Buddha figure was carved out on the red stone. The Mathura art under the Kushanas was a direct continuation of the Indian art of Bharhut and Sachi. Now we talk about the coins of this period. Kanishka mainly issued two types of coins. On one type, the legends were in Iranian, on the other, the legends were in Greek. And on his coins, uh, which have been issued by Kanishka. Kanishka appears, his image appears on one side and a deity's image is engraved on the other side. And these deities represented are Greek, Sumerian, Persian, and Indian. So finally, we come to the evaluation of Kanishka. So undoubtedly, Kanishka was a great emperor of ancient India and also a skillful warrior, conqueror, empire builder, and a great administrator. To conclude, Dr. A. Chaudhary says the dynasty of Kanishka opened the way for Indian civilization to Central and Eastern Asia. This was about Kanishka and the Kushanas. If you have liked the video, please share it with others also. And please look out for my upcoming video on another aspect of the post-modern period. Thank you for watching. Thank you.